In the first act of Jesus' public ministry, he goes to the synagogue. He stands up as the young, new rabbi and takes the scroll as any Jewish man could, and he found the place that he wanted to emphasize. He unrolled the scroll till he got to that place, and then he spoke. And when he sat down, everyone was electrified. And like a switch that closes the circuit so that the electricity can flow through all of the wires, he said, "Today, today." Now, in that moment, there was anticipation because everyone knew this passage from Isaiah. If they had never sat in the synagogue, if they were simply visitors from the outside, if they had never heard of Isaiah or never spent a moment thinking of his promises, what Jesus had to say was a curiosity, a shrug of the shoulders, not even new news. That because their imaginations had been formed, because they had spent time as they came to know the promises that came forth in anticipation of God's new initiative, because they were poised, having analyzed their situation and seen where they stood, waiting for God to act in their age. When Jesus stood up and he watched them roll 1 inch after the other to that place, their hearts were beating, their minds were racing, and their ears were pitched to hear what Jesus would say. That's called education. Now, in our time, the largest and the most dedicated ministry at the Church of Sacred Heart is our education program, both for the school and our religious education efforts, especially in sacramental formation. This is Catholic Schools Week, and we're focusing on that aspect, which is the largest of all of the ministries that we have at Sacred Heart and has been for the last 100 years. We'll invite one of our mothers to come up and speak about the power and the invitation to Catholic education. But to just remind everyone that this is a ministry that touches all of us. It touches the minds and the hearts of those children who are coming up through the school, yes. And it touches the minds and the hearts of all of those whose ears learned to be pitched toward what God is doing in our age. But it's also a ministry of the church for all of those outside of these walls and away from the property of Sacred Heart. Where we educate not just for the church, but for the world. And given this new age of cooperation between the work of the state and the work of the church, where it's possible to afford education in a way that has not been possible for a long time, this is a new opportunity to recontextualize, to pitch our ears to hear in a way we may not have heard before. So Catholic Schools Week isn't just for young families. It's not just for parents whose children are now just about to approach the age when this might be available. And not just those who are looking at the checkbook and wondering how to make ends meet and to think about adding something else. This is the work of the church in our age. And because it is, it's the work of all of us in our age.
Good evening. My name is Cristina Rodriguez. I am a member at Sacred Heart Catholic Church, and my kids have attended Sacred Heart for over 10 years. I am happy to be here today to be able to inform you all on how blessed we are to have a school within Sacred Heart Parish. Myself, as well as others, I'm sure, enjoy to be a part of the parish, the school, the community, and have found a home. My children have attended over 10 years and have not only found a great education, but Catholic core virtues and a family. They have very high educated and trained staff. The classes are smaller, so it gives the student and the educators more one-on-one to better help them in any way possible. They also have the ability to be taught religion on a daily basis and prayer throughout the day. Students receive regular curriculums and even Spanish language and music, as well as others. The students stay forthcoming with their teachers to know how they are doing on a daily basis. Many think it's not affordable, but with the new parental choice tax credit and other scholarships within the school, it makes a huge difference on an ambition for you and your little ones. The principal, Ms. Albert, as well as Ms. Kwan, Mr. Mendez, and Ms. Diggins are a few of many that have impacted my children and go above and beyond for them. Our students at Sacred Heart are very loved, respected, and cared for. If you would like more information about our Catholic school, Sacred Heart, we have a table in the back with faculty and parents who are more than happy and available to answer any questions for you all, and also schedule a tour. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, we educate not because we can offer something that a child can't get anywhere else when it comes to multiplication or American history or social studies. The focus of the life of the school is that we form those who come to us, that they might be able to pitch their ears in a way with all anticipation to hear what God speaks to them in their life, for the goodness that God pours out into them and their families. The work of the school, of course, is to educate, it to bring out from them all that they have been entrusted in the talents and the goodness of their lives, and to form it in a way that points them toward the work of God in the world by way of them. And so the invitation that we extend to you is to support our work in the school by your generosity, by your commitment to this ministry as the principal ministry of our parish, but also that you might continue to open your own hearts to the work of the Lord that now unfolds among us. Because it wasn't just in that synagogue all those years ago that the words of the prophet Isaiah to provide for the poor and to enliven the hearts of those cast down. It wasn't just then and not just at that moment, but it only began that day and continues until now. That when our vision is focused on Christ himself, that those words reach their fulfillment. And that's what we want to carry into the lives and into the hearts of those who are with us in our school, to the children who are there, to their parents, and to their families, so that they, in all anticipation, can hear, receive, and know what Isaiah wrote in his promise and what was fulfilled in the person of Christ. Today, in your hearing, this has come to be.